meeting of the Board of Trustees of the East Central Independent School District being held on January 15th, 2026, and beginning at 6:30 p.m. Madam Secretary, may I have a roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Ginger Prisma. Here. David Santos.
Yes, ma'am, here.
Randall Gerhardt.
Here.
James Mulkey.
Here.
Jefferson was here. Emilio Carrasco.
Here.
And Lee Preston.
Here. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Next item on the agenda is prayer and pledge.
We'll turn it over to Oak Crest and Principal Latin.
All right, good evening, President Presas, Mr. Toscano, and members of the board. My name is Amy Lively, and I'm the proud principal at Oak Crest Elementary. Tonight, we're excited to be the campus spotlight and to share a small glimpse into the great things that are happening at Oak Crest. I'm honored to have students from one of our campus clubs joining us this evening, along with their amazing sponsors. We have Ms. Sylvia Zamora, we have Ms. Yvette Lopez, Ms. Maria Zamaron, and Ms. Maria Koenig. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Isabella, who will welcome you, introduce the group, and tell you a little bit more about their club as we get started.
Hello. Welcome. President Presas, Board of Trustees, Mr. Toscano, principals, and friends. My name is Isabella Pérez. We are here to proudly represent Oak Crest Elementary and our amazing photojournalism club.
But first, let us begin with the United States Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yo prometo lealtad a la bandera de los Estados Unidos de América y a la república que representa una nación ante Dios, libre y libertad y justicia para todos. Honored Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible. Honor la bandera de Texas, te prometo lealtad a ti, Texas, un estado de Dios y
Lord, thank you for blessing and caring for every student and every family that is a part of our school district. Thank you for blessing and protecting every campus in the district, every classroom, every teacher, and every employee. Thank you for pouring out blessings into our families and our loved ones. Lord, thank you for every single member of the school board. Thank you for continuing to guide them and making the best decisions for all of our students. May you guide them according to your will, and may you bless them with our living. Thank you, God, because we trust that you are taking care and will continue to bless this amazing district. We declare all of this in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Señor, gracias por bendecir y cuidar cada estudiante y cada familia que forma parte de East Central. Gracias por bendecir y proteger cada escuela del distrito, cada salón de clases, cada maestro y cada empleado. Gracias por derramar bendiciones sobre nuestras familias y nuestros seres queridos. Señor, gracias por cada miembro de esta junta directiva escolar. Gracias por guiarlos para que continúen tomando las mejores decisiones para todos los estudiantes. Guíalos según tu voluntad y bendícelos abundantemente. Gracias, Dios, porque confiamos en que tú estás cuidando este increíble distrito escolar. Declaramos todo esto en el poderoso nombre de Jesús. Amén.
Thank you all. Now, let's get on with the show. We are here to tell you a little bit about our new improved journalism. Have you had the pleasure of reading the Oakcrest Dinner Tribune in this year's half? Read on the Oakcrest Facebook page or the X formerly known as Twitter. Well, listen to the dinner now. Being a dual language campus, we have made a few changes to our e-newsletter. Our new name is the Oakcrest Echo, or Echo the Oakcrest. Our journalists, including me, are responsible for creating this monthly e-newsletter, and we are very proud of our hard work. Ahora que comience el espectáculo, estamos aquí para contarles un poco sobre nuestro nuevo y mejorado club de fotoperiodismo. ¿Han tenido el placer de leer el Oakcrest Dinner Tribune en años anteriores? Tal vez en la página de Facebook de Oakcrest o X, antes conocido como Twitter. Bueno, ahora se ve un poco diferente. Al ser una escuela de lenguaje dual, hemos realizado algunos cambios en nuestro boletín electrónico. Nuestro nuevo nombre es el Oakcrest Echo o el Echo de Oakcrest. Nuestros periodistas son responsables de crear este increíble boletín mensual y estamos muy orgullosos de nuestro arduo trabajo. Here are the few changes we have made. First of all, it is now both in English and Spanish. We've added a couple of new sections that are coming student shows. This is a section where we will feature student work and knowledge that actually knows the work of students. These will be delivered by classroom teachers or other people here on those boards.
Estos son algunos de los cambios que hemos realizado. En primer lugar, ahora está disponible tanto en inglés como en español. Hemos añadido un par de secciones nuevas que estamos perfeccionando. Student Showcase. Esta es una sección donde descartaremos el trabajo de los alumnos en todos los grados y reconoceremos el excelente desempeño de algunos de nuestros estudiantes. Estos trabajos pueden ser entregados por los maestros o bien podría ser obras vistas en los murales escolares.
Amazing, right? But that's not all. We are also going to launch a web recommendation page for students. Additionally, we are practicing our interview skills by video recording our interviews. ¡Qué increíble!, ¿verdad? Pero eso no es todo. También vamos a lanzar una página de recomendaciones de libros para los estudiantes. Estamos ansiosos por eso. También estamos practicando nuestras habilidades de entrevistas grabando nuestras sesiones en video.
Don't you agree? We started this a few years ago with Ms. Samara as our sponsor. The club was created as a part of a career passionate exploration choice. Now we have Ms. Samara as our sponsor, along with Ms. Lopez, Ms. Hayden, and Ms. Angel. This club is for students with an interest in writing, taking pictures, and creating electronic media.
Genial, ¿no creen? Permítanme contarles un poco de historia. Comenzamos este club hace unos años con la señora Zamora como nuestra consejera. El club se creó como parte de una acción de exploración de trayectorias profesionales. Ahora contamos con la señora Zamora como nuestra consejera, junto a la señora López, la señora Keinet y la señorita Zamarrón. Este club es para estudiantes interesados en la escritura, la fotografía y la creación de medios electrónicos.
This year we have 20 brand new members. Our club meets every Wednesday after school from 4:15 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. During the school day, when we have time, we check out an iPad to do our job. This can be held and used taking pictures or just working on our through our final editing before publishing our incredible newsletter for you to enjoy. Si están interesados en suscribirse, pueden seguirnos en Seniors Journey.
To recap what Carolyn has said, you can follow us on X at State of Journey. We are only getting better and better. Thank you for allowing us to showcase our skills and talents on our campus. We look forward to entertaining the future issue of Open. Thank you again and have a good week.
Thank you again for having us tonight, and in the future, we would love to interview some of the board members. Oh, that's again. Oh, no, oh, it's just a picture. I will send you a video. Sorry. For the second time. I'll get you one. I was worried about that.
Okay, y'all, we just thank y'all so very much for the wonderful presentations. If y'all would just stay with us for a few minutes, the next item on the agenda is awards and recognitions.
Good evening, President Presses and members of the board. As you know, January is Board Recognition Month. On behalf of our entire community, we want to thank you for your time, dedication, and service that you provide to our students, faculty, and staff of East Central Independent School District. This year's theme, Our Future is Public, is a powerful reminder of the critical role you play in shaping the next generation of leaders, innovators, and thinkers. By volunteering your time and sharing your expertise, you help to guide the direction of our district while investing in our future workforce, in our community, and ultimately to the Texas economy. Across Texas, as we know, school boards are facing increasingly complex challenges, from navigating budget constraints and emerging educational technologies to implementing new curriculum and advocating for opportunities for all students. Despite these challenges, you remain steadfast and unwavering in your commitment in providing the very best education for every child. Through your tireless efforts, you show us that leadership is not simply about policy and governance. It is about long-term commitment to the success of every student, every educator, for the entire East Central community. We are proud to share that our trustees collectively bring 64 years of service to the East Central School Board. Many of our trustees have graduated from East Central. All of them have and are currently have children who have gone through our school system and graduated. And we proudly recognize each of you for your generosity of time, your leadership, your service, and your vision. At the front, we have a certificate of appreciation, a small gift as a token of our gratitude, and just we want to thank you for all that you do. Can we give them one round of applause? First up, our president of our school board. Mrs. Presser is a proud East Central graduate and has dedicated her time and service to the board across 2 separate terms. She was first elected in 2003 and then returned in service again in 2018, bringing a total of 21 years of service as a trustee for East Central ISD. Her connection to East Central runs deep, and her commitment to this community is evident in everything that she does. As a respected leader, Mrs. Presses brings both experience and heart to her service. She is known for her genuine love for children and her unwavering dedication to others. She leads with humility, grace, and selflessness, always placing the needs of students, staff, and community above her own. Mrs. Presses, thank you for the profound positive impact that you have made on the lives of countless students, employees, and families across East Central. Your service and leadership are truly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a family in the audience that we could recognize. Thank you for supporting Mrs. Presses. Next up, we have our Vice President, Emilio Carrasco. Mr. Carrasco is a Master Trustee, a proud East Central graduate, and a longtime member of the East Central community. He's been married for 33 years to his high school sweetheart, who is also an East Central graduate, and together they exemplify a deep love for family, faith, and community. For many years, Mr. Carrasco has served as a dedicated youth pastor at his church, mentoring and guiding young people with compassion and care. He began his service as a trustee in December of 2022, and across the district, you will find Mr. Carrasco and his wife attending countless events, proudly supporting their Hornets and cheering on our students. Mr. Carrasco, thank you for your tireless support, your servant leadership, and your unwavering advocacy for ECISD. Your commitment and heart for this district is truly appreciated. Thank you. Now, we do have some family in the audience that his bride for 33 years. Thank you for allowing me to do this work. Thank you. Next up, Secretary Del Brazil. So Mrs. Brazil was elected to the school board in 2012 and has faithfully served as a trustee for the past 14 years. Her deep commitment to service is rooted in a lifetime of caring for others, including a distinguished career in healthcare, which she retired as a nurse. Mrs. Brazil brings her professional knowledge and compassion and perspective to every discussion, thoughtfully considering decisions that impact the health, safety, and overall well-being of our students and staff. In recent years especially, her insight and steady presence have been an invaluable asset to our district. She has shared that she feels called to serve where there is great and honorable need, and that calling is clearly reflected in the way that she serves as a trustee. Mrs. Brazil, thank you for your steadfast advocacy and the well-being of all of our children, and for your continued dedication to the East Central community. Thank you. You know they give up so much time, but if there's a family member in the audience that's willing to stand so we can recognize them here, wave. Next up, we have Trustee Ginger Friesenheim. Mrs. Friesenheim is a proud East Central graduate and a lifelong member of our community who began her service as a trustee in November of 2021. She's a strong and thoughtful voice for all students and a devoted advocate for our staff and community. Her tireless energy and unwavering dedication help move our district forward as we work toward our shared goal of excellence in student achievement. She continues to invest her own leadership growth by dedicating many hours to the Texas Association of School Board Leadership Program, where trustees begin to develop skills as serving as proactive, visionary leaders who promote educational excellence for all children. This commitment reflects her journey towards becoming a master trustee and her desire to serve our district with excellence. Mrs. Friesen, thank you for your countless ways that you support our students, staff, and family of EC. Your service, passion, and leadership are deeply appreciated. Does she have family in the audience somewhere too as well? Awesome. Next up, trustee, Mr. Randall Girard. So we extend our sincere gratitude and appreciation to Mr. Girard, who is currently serving in his second tenure as a trustee following his previous stint from 2008 to 2013. Throughout his service, Mr. Girard has provided a steady and dependable presence on the board. As a 24-year veteran of the Air Force and now a civil servant in the field of technology, he brings a strong attention to detail and a thoughtful, analytical perspective to his role. As a long-standing member of the East Central community, Mr. Girard and his wife remain deeply involved in supporting their community. He is widely respected as a humble servant leader who prioritizes the success of others through strong governance, collaboration, and steadfast support. Mr. Girard, thank you so much for your continued dedication and meaningful contributions to ECISD. Thank you. Next up, Trustee Mr. James Mulkey, otherwise known as Coach. Coach Mulkey, affectionately also known as what I just said, Coach, has faithfully served on the school board for the past 15 years following his election in 2011. He is a retired teacher and coach. Many of you may know or may not know he is a football Hall of Famer, devoted husband, father, and loving grandfather. Coach Mulkey has long been a proud resident of the Lakeside community. His background as an educator brings a valuable and unique perspective to the board. Coach understands firsthand the impact schools have on students, and he is a passionate advocate for extracurricular activities and the lasting benefits they provide in shaping students' lives. You will often find Coach at athletic events across the district, proudly wearing his EC gear, on the field, on the court, or near the track, proudly supporting his Hornets. He is also familiar and a welcome presence at Sinclair Elementary, where he regularly takes time to greet students and staff each morning, offering encouragement and hope and optimism as they start their day. Coach, thank you for the many years of dedication, your servant leadership, and your unwavering support for ECISD students, coaches, teachers, and administrators. Your impact is deeply appreciated. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, we're right here.
He just told me I just wrote a pretty good resume for him. Next up, trustee Mr. David Santos. Mr. David Santos is an East Central graduate and a long-standing dedicated supporter of ECISD. In his professional role as a sales engineer, Mr. Santos exemplifies the importance of building strong relationships, leading with integrity, and providing exceptional customer service. Mr. Santos is widely recognized for his positive demeanor and his ability to inspire and uplift those around him. He is highly regarded for his servant leadership and his unwavering willingness to support others. He's an avid chess player, and Mr. Santos has been a strong advocate for school chess clubs and enjoys engaging with students through a game whenever the opportunity arises. We thank you, Mr. Santos, for your continued commitment and for serving ECISD in this important role of a trustee and for the meaningful and positive impact that you make every day in this district. Thank you. Did his wife make it over? Oh, there she is. Stand up. He does his wife. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you guys for staying for the awards and recognitions. We'll take a brief 5-minute break so that everybody can go home and do chores or homework or whatever it is that you need to do. You know, you're a busy schedule. So we'll take about a 5-minute break and then reconvene. Thank you. I don't believe we have any public comment. So the next item is trustee reports. Item 6.1.
Sorry, I just want to let you guys have y'all had a happy new year, and things are kicking off again for this semester, so keep up the great. That's all.
Thank you. I hope you all had a happy new year. I haven't gotten to do a lot now since it's the beginning of the year, but I have my calendar out, and I'm anxiously awaiting to attend some fun things.
I appreciate you guys being here tonight. I have not been doing a whole lot this year also, so look forward to doing more in your future.
Happy New Year to everybody. May you have a blessed New Year and prosperous 2026. No activities to report yet, but everybody and everything's on my list. So.
I haven't been able to get out anywhere this short year, but I'd like to recognize some employees and some students of the district. I'd like to recognize and congratulate Joshua Espinosa and his teacher, Margaret Tony, and what I understand, he represented East Central and UIL competitive debate, and I think it's the first time in history. So I want to send a shout out to the teacher and Espinosa, and I understand he finished 7th right at the cutoff, but I think he represented the district well. Congratulations to him. I also like to send a shout out to Braylon Blair. He will be playing in San Antonio's All-Star game come Saturday, and I think that's an accomplished recognition for the district also. Also want to send a direct congratulations to senior Jamal Wolf. He scored 1,000 points over his varsity career. I think that's an accomplished milestone that he should be recognized. Also, I want to congratulate Coach Hubbard. Coach Hubbard was selected to coach in the Maya Bowl, and never heard of it, but he coached for January the 10th up in Dallas, I think it was, and I think it's collegial all-star game. I'd like to also congratulate the Legacy Knights. The boys soccer team was champions, conference champions, and I want to congratulate them also. I also want to congratulate Heritage girls basketball team went undefeated, and they repeated as champions also. So those are two great accomplishments. I like to and I think the coaches are doing a great job. Congratulations to the players and the coaches. As I move on, I'd like to congratulate all the teachers from each campus that were Teacher of the Year. And we thank you for everything that you do. We appreciate you, what you do for the kids, and also, and I want to send a shout out to Ms. Salazar and Sinclair, elementary, second grade teacher. And those are some things that I think we need to recognize when our employees and our students and teachers do something. We need to recognize them, and I thank them all for what they do. Appreciate it.
So I had a few opportunities to go out. We saw some basketball games. Our young men just all the time just show themselves high class and represent East Central well. I also got a chance to go up to Austin and see Joshua Espinosa and hear the debate. It was just amazing to see this young man, and I learned a lot. It was just amazing to see, and it was a thrill to see young people, not just from East Central, but of course, you know who I was rooting for, but to see young people just being able to debate and learn the governance part of, and seeing the effort that they put into research and all the things. They just sounded so eloquent. And again, like I said, I learned a bunch. I got to meet his parents, great folks. And I was rooting him on. I was hoping that he would make it pass, because I was heading back to Austin for the next day, because he would have been representing East Central there at the Capitol. But great job. Kudos to him, and it just goes to show what East Central is all about. Also had opportunity to go to the stock show there at FFA, and I got to see the ag portion of the welding shop that they have there is amazing. And they came in second place, I believe, overall at the stock show that they went and represented East Central, and made this deer feeder that I was a little envious of. I think it was amazing, and had this remote control set it off and turn it on. Just a lot of work that went into that. So just so many things that we have a lot to be proud of here at East Central, and we wear it as a badge of honor. I go even out of state with my EC garb on and representing, because we have great things going on, great kids, great people, and hats off to all the teachers and all the principals and everybody else that has a part. Thank you.
Well, I had an opportunity to go to, or rather to attend holiday fellowship with the Bear County Coalition of Trustees of Bear County, and it was absolutely wonderful just to be around other trustees, and we all shared important things and wonderful things about our district, and so we celebrated with each other. But one thing that really caught my attention was that they said that our superintendent had the longest tenure in Bear County. We're the oldest. He stuck with us this long. And the other thing that we discussed, and looking forward to having this happen again, is that we're going to be looking at the Heroes for Health. I don't know who anybody remembers that. We had the fire truck out and all of that. So we're going to, the coalition is going to East Ginger. We're going to go and look at getting that started up again, because the kids really, really loved it. We did it in the elementary. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, that was awesome. That was it. And Happy New Year, and have a wonderful, healthy year this year.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is 7.1 board goals update. Mr. Toscano?
Yeah, trustees, this month, you'll have the update slide deck in your miscellaneous packet if you prefer to follow along that way, or watch the monitor as Mr. Homer and the team provide the board with this month's student progress updates relative to the board goals.
Madam President, Mr. Toscano, members of the board, thanks for the opportunity for the board updates on our goals. You'll see it's the same 6 big target areas from before. We're going to talk a little bit about attendance. We talk about those behavior systems and how they're preventative, and that we're very strong with our behavior systems that helps reduce discipline incidents. Then our new CCMR director, Lauren, is going to share some updates on our CCMR status. And then Jen's going to close us out with our big student achievement update. Here is our attendance data up from before the break. And so the big picture, what I want you to take away here is that we're up about 0.3% as a district. And what we know is that when kids are coming to school, that helps raise their opportunities to learn. And so we have more learning going on. And that, of course, ADA, our average daily attendance, impacts funding, so that's more money for the district. And so you'll see that we've got a bunch of campuses that are up year over year, and we've got a couple that are really on track to reach those ambitious goals that we set at the beginning of the year. In particular, I'm going to call out Valor and Salado for really being on track and doing an amazing job. But we also acknowledge that Legacy has the biggest increase in the district, at over 1% increase. New Central High School, Harmony, Forest, and Claire, traditional, and making gains. And like I said before, we're seeing the funding increase because of that. We're Shane and the student services team and John and the team are working with our Project Aware. We're so fortunate to have that grant and that work that they're doing. So they meet bi-weekly trying to improve those attendance outcomes. And then we have, we're piloting some new things over at our high schools. We're talking to improve communication. But the big message I want you to take away is 0.3% increase, getting more kids in school, more opportunities to learn, and way great success there is. So I'm going to move us over to behavior systems. So on behavior systems, the context here, since COVID, what I want you to remember is that we've had 2 campuses get to 80%. So our goal is 80%. And what we know is behavior systems, strong behaviors, when we're clear and consistent with our behavior systems, we see less discipline. And so what you're seeing up here is that 12 out of 13 campuses have already reached our goal for the year. It's not over yet, and so we're holding out. We're optimistic that we're going to get all the schools. So I don't believe we've ever seen a secondary campus get to 80% before, and now we're looking at 4 out of 5. And I do want to call out Legacy as our 3rd highest. So we've not seen 80; they're over 90 now. And so I think anybody who's been over at Legacy, you can feel it over there. Right? Like they're doing some great things. And so I'll wait till Mr. Ryan and the team. We talk about tier 2 as like those kids that need a little extra support, maybe like 10-15% of kids. And this is our strength of those systems. We talked about how it's lagging just a little bit behind by design. We focused on tier 1 first, pivoting from tier 2. Also a goal to get to 80%. We're at 75 as a district. We've got all, 7 out of 8 elementaries. And way to go, East Central High School, rocking up to 80% now, and climbing. So we're really going to be pushing on tier 2, trying to get all of both of those up over 80 as we finish out the school year. And then if you look at our discipline, so that's the preventative side. This is hey, what's the results? What I want you to see here is last year through 19 weeks, we had 319 incidents. We're at 279. And we're aiming for 273. So we keep inching closer and closer to our goal. We're 6 off right now. If we keep going like we're going, you're going to see us get there in the next couple months. So I can't wait to share that story with you. I've got a couple of just ways to represent that for you. I was trying to capture like by a month how many incidents you would see. But because some months had more weeks than others, does that make sense with the holidays? I didn't want you to think, oh, well, December had less days, so it has less incidents. I did it by average incidents in a week. So that way it was more apples to apples. Does that make sense? Okay, so what I want you to see on the graph is in September, look at our secondary, the red, the yellow, and the green. That was a relative high spot for us. As our systems got stronger, what you're seeing is the line's going down mostly, right? So the stronger the system, the less discipline incidents. So you can see East Central High School, the red line coming way down, and you can see Heritage coming down. I did that graph again on the left there because I wanted you to see this year on the left and last year on the right. So when we talked about discipline in the past, what I told you is that usually during the year, discipline goes up. So look at East Central High School on the right as red. It tended to go up over time. You see it going up. And then look at the yellow and the green as other secondary campuses. It tends to go up over time. But we're coming down right now on our incidents. And that's where we're hopeful that we'll see us get on track for that goal in the next month or two. That's a busy graph on the right. What I want you to take away from that is that's the behavior systems we saw earlier. And you can see that line at 80. What I want you to see is that they're going up. Like we're trending up in what we're doing and that we're starting to reach our goal at 80. And in particular, look at September. Look at how much they're going up and how we're getting to 80%. And then look on the graph on the left. As you get to September, things are coming down. So what I want you to take away is strong behavior on the right, less discipline on the left. Most of these things for you, the big focus is going to be around tier 2 and getting everything up to 80% and just finishing the year out strong. I'm going to turn it over to Lauren for CCMR.
Good evening. I could talk to you all night about this, but I'll keep it short. Let's look at our current juniors, our cohort 27 students. At both CAST and ECHS, we did see some growth with dual credit grades in December coming in. We're still waiting on a couple of in-person classes to come in next week, and so we should see a slight increase at both of those campuses. But reminder, just in the springtime, we will see ACT scores come in, SAT scores come in, and then AP come in July. So you're not going to see the bulk of that growth until this spring and summer. And then even more exciting, looking at our current seniors, our cohort 26, ECHS is at 56% and CAS is at 94%. We have never seen seniors, college, career, military ready at this rate. These are normally March and April results, and we're seeing this in December and January. So very exciting things coming in at both of our high school campuses, and we look forward to seeing some additional growth. That's the fastest I've ever been.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about achievement, but before we look at the numbers, I'm going to kind of ground us in this idea that we're really, really hyper-focused right now on solid instruction. We know that if solid instruction is happening every single day, it's going to get us to the result of those student achievements. So you might have heard the term delivering effective instruction. I'm going to talk about that right now and a little bit towards the end, but we're really hyper-focused on that. Our data today is going to be student data, so I want us to look at exactly what numbers we've been bringing you and what we're going to be bringing you. So math, think about math. If I'm a 4th grade student, math is going to test everything that I could possibly know in math. It's even beyond 4th grade, might even go lower than 4th grade. When our students take that 3 times a year. Our students are actually in a testing window right now for middle of the year. Our reading data is starting almost all in, and our math data is trickling in. So we don't have numbers to share with you today, but we will have those numbers finalized in February. Interim, and an interim is kind of like, it's basically a STAR. It's a scrimmage. It's your practice for the STAR test. It's going to test everything that a student should know at that grade level. So that same 4th grade math student is only going to assess me on 4th grade math. Some of those skills I've been taught, some of those skills I haven't been taught yet, but it's going to show me in totality how well I understand 4th grade math. This assessment is given twice a year, once in the fall, once in the spring. We brought you the fall data, I believe, in December, and as soon as we get spring data, we'll bring you as well. There's another type of assessment that we use, that's called the CFA, Common Formative Assessment. This measures a specific skill. So again, if I'm that 4th grade student, it might just measure how well I understand fractions or multiplication. It gives a very narrow view. This data is usually used at the campus level, and teachers own this data to to be able to determine how well are students learning what I'm teaching right now in this unit, and then pivot the next day or the next week's lesson. So it's very difficult to take that CFA data and have a general conclusion on how well students are doing, because it's only giving you a little bit of the information. It's only showing you a little bit of what's tested. That's what we're gonna bring you today. So we look at third grade math, and we know that our goal progress measure is to get at 48%. So our goal is 48%. This is just multiplication and division, and if you remember, what we're reporting on is meets. So there's 3 bands. One band is approaches, you can kind of equate that to like passing, and then meets is are they meeting the grade level standards, and then masters is kind of like, above and beyond, mastering the standards. So we're reporting meets. So we're looking at third grade right now, we see PV on the rise, and just remember, it's just multiplication and division. Looking at third grade reading, our goal is 51%. We see that Highland Forest is already there. This is an important data set because this is a mid-module. So think about this as if, as a teacher, I'm gonna have 20 days to teach main idea, author's purpose, and composition, but I'm assessing students on day 10. So halfway through the unit, this is where our students are showing meets grade level when they haven't been taught the entire unit yet. So we anticipate by the time they get to the end of that unit and they have a module assessment, then we'll see those outcomes go up. In fifth grade math, goal is 55%. Pretty complex topic that we're seeing here, addition and multiplication, volume and areas, when our students first start having to take that multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, and apply it into geometry. So again, CFA just measuring that topic. We look at fifth grade reading, a goal of 53%. This is a drama unit. We've got some pretty promising results coming in. Drama tends to be a tough unit for our elementary school students. It's a little abstract for them to understand, so really happy with what's showing up there. And then eighth grade algebra, our goal is to be at 56%, and every single campus is on the rise. So the data is trending up, and eighth grade algebra looking very strong right now. And this particular assessment was just on linear equations. So some of the next steps that we're doing, we're really going to zoom in to that delivering effective instruction, because we know that great teaching equals great learning. So that second bullet point is really important for us, calibrating with campus leaders on what delivering effective instruction looks like. And I'm going to dive into that a little bit more. So you might have heard the phrase strategy on a page. So one of the strategy and priorities on a page is our high impact teaching and learning section. And one of those little flowerets is delivering effective instruction. What does that mean? Like, what is it that you want to see in the classroom to know that the instruction is effective? So these are the 5 things that are getting a lot of attention right now. Classroom routines and procedures, clear learning outcomes. Do students know what they're learning and why? Explicit instruction, are they being shown exactly what that's supposed to look like? Do they have a lot of time to practice, get messy with the content? Student engagement, are they actively involved in participating in the learning? And then monitoring and adjusting. How quickly are teachers able to notice when a student's not understanding and then respond right there if they need? This particular piece of data that we are collecting now, if you remember back in December, we created a way that we can measure these things in the classroom. So campuses right now are collecting data daily. It's up on a dashboard of what percentage of our classrooms are showing effective instruction in these 5 metrics. At our next meeting, I will be able to bring that baseline data to you and what we hope to see following that. Couple steps that are happening right now, really focusing on that reteach time. Honor and the middle schools are really having some bold moves when it comes. Harmony too, in fact I stole that phrase from Pencil and Grounds over there, bold moves happening right now. So really looking at what we can do to reteach students that aren't understanding it. So that includes finding out which students are not mastering the content that really have a good shot. They're 5, 6 questions away, they're 12 questions away, like they're almost right there, what can we do? And then really shifting up what that looks like for them. Sometimes that involves bringing in an expert teacher from another grade level or someone from the admin team to come in and work with students. So we're in the design and application right now of resetting what that looks like. And then, as I said earlier, our students are testing right now that middle of the year math test. And we will be meeting with every single campus as soon as that data is finalized to start action plans on what that looks like.
Thank you.
I have one question, Madam President. Jonathan, with regard to your discipline charts, it seems, I'm looking at them all, and the trend is, as it gets colder, which colder's not existed much around here, but as it gets to December, am I seeing that behavior and goes down, discipline seems to go down, or is that just due to season, everybody's calm, or are people absent?
Yeah, so I think this chart shows what you're talking about. So on the left, you see that they're coming down, so discipline, there's less discipline incidents happening, which is what you're saying. On the right, what I want you to see is the same time last year, December is the highest. So we're doing a lot better. So if you, in the past, we go up over time, so December is usually more incidents than.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah,
thank you. I
I
appreciate
appreciate that,
that.
24, 25, yes, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Anyone else on the question? Thank you all so much. Next item on the agenda is 7.2 personnel report. Mr. Toscano?
The trustees, this month's report, in the electronic packet, you'll see a small number of transactions, specifically with some resignations. Take a look at that if you haven't already. If you need some additional information, let me know, and we'll get that to you.
All right. Anybody have any questions? The next item on the agenda is 7.3 bond construction update.
Yeah, I'll turn it over to Mr. Thomas and Ms. Gonzalez. Provide the board with an update this month. You have a hard copy in your miscellaneous packet of the deck. If you prefer to follow along that way, Mr. Thomas.
Good evening. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and start as usual with Valerie Middle School. Good progress out there. We feel really good with what's going down. We've begun the punch list process for three of the lanes partially. A lot of the classrooms, we've walked the initial walk, and we're working through that, and that team has done very well. The track surface is now laid. We worked on eliminating that vibration of that fill post for you. So we've got some deadening products that will make that happen.
So I was thinking, you know, we have 6-inch aluminum bus in our substation. We do run dampening cable because I've seen that effect before. So I was going to throw that out, but I guess y'all beat me to it.
I think there's a little geothermal activity out there, so we
We get off of that, Valley. When is the what is the opening, I guess, for lack of a word?
So we're hoping to begin moving furniture in about mid-May. We start getting staff in there. Yes, sir. Victory Elementary School. And again, good progress there. That team has started to energize those rooftop units, 6, 7, and 8. So they've got the majority of the units on now. You can see a lot of the flat work and driveways are completed at this point. Getting to those final grades, and they've begun the playground this week on the little side of the building. So they're making good progress. And the exterior, interior, the MEP, the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing is coming along well. The majority of the drywall is beginning to be in place. So starting to get some painting done as well. So they're moving well and anticipated June move in for that. CTE building. We've reached substantial completion. There's a couple things that the contractor is finishing out there, and hopefully at the end of the day today, I didn't get it confirmed, AT&T made their final connection, so we've kind of been waiting on that. But everything looks good. We're getting, Meredith and her folks have gotten furniture moved in partially. Some of it will still continue to be moved over from some of the existing classrooms.
Is there going to be a ribbon cutting?
Yes. Once we occupy, thought was we'd wait to do that so when we tour the building, we can actually see what it looks like with it being in use.
Elementary school number 10, a lot of site work going on there. That's begun this last month. You can see the pad there for the building is being excavated, and they're making good progress. They're right about, from a timeline standpoint, in line with where Victory was this time last year.
that location, 1346 and 1604. Is that what I read?
1346, so if you were to take Stewart Road from the high school all the way north, it's
Yeah.
gonna dead into 1346. Right on the other side of that, sir, is that location.
So it's a little bit inside
Inside.
1604, back
It's
towards
inside.
Martinez. Just a little bit.
So you know, Stuart, you will see it. I was surprised.
We saw some dirt.
Oh, yeah.
High school number 2, dirt work has begun there as well. They did kind of a cool overlay here of the design on top of the earthwork that you can see is moved those brown areas. That's a lot of dirt. It doesn't look like it here because it's such a large footprint that they are getting a lot of work done quickly out there as well. So we're very happy with the progress being made. The transportation facility, you can see there where they're starting to get that pad ready, that lighter section there for the buildings. They're making good progress. They're starting to work on utilities there as one of the next things that they're gonna make happen here in the next month. We wanted to talk to you all a little bit, and Ms. Gonzalez might chime in, we'll do this together. A little bit of that flow, because y'all had some questions about how the buses are gonna flow on Highway 87.
So, again, just clarification, we wanted to emphasize our work here with TxDOT and their recommendations for how we can emphasize and utilize this traffic flow with safety in mind. As you can see, the red square there is where the transportation facility will be. And the 2 arrows are the 2 options that we have that our buses will have when they exit the building, exit the site. So when they exit the site, it's a forced turn right. So everybody will have to turn right. There is an exit, a crossover right in front of our facility. But again, TxDOT is encouraging us to not utilize that as a crossover. So to avoid congestion in that area and safety for the buses and the traffic flow that's coming. So all of the buses will exit and go right and either use the first turnaround, which is right across from the Everly Estate subdivision, or they can go a little bit further and use the crossover that's right, a little past Sheena Bed, the restaurant there. So they have 2 options. We have about, in conversations with Mr. Yurt in the Transportation Department, we have about 50 buses that exit the facility in the morning. About 27 of them have to come out of the facility and then use one of the turnarounds to go towards 410. When they're going towards 410, they will have the option of going down Beck Road to come down to Sulphur Springs, or going a little bit further and coming down Foster Road to get to the back area. So we haven't decided yet, it hasn't been determined yet how many buses will turn on which lane, but we control that. So we can make those decisions as we determine where the best flow would be for traffic, for safety, for students, and for the community. Whichever we decide, we really know and feel like this site is going to be so much more improved than our current facility on Sulphur Springs. Those of you who know where our facility is now know that the entrance and exit is only one of that facility, and they're both yards away from each other. And it's 2 lanes, one in each direction. So this is going to be much improved already for our community and for our buses, and for traffic flow. We also estimate that most of the buses in the morning will be out of the facility and on the road no later than, at the latest, probably 6:15, because they're on routes. So when traffic is coming in from Livonia, they're going to be out and about in the community. In the afternoon, we do have some midday routes, and then in the afternoon, when they're out to go pick up, we'll have about 34 of them have to go, again, turn around and go towards 410, and the remaining 16 will continue to go to 1604. So the times that they leave the facility in the afternoon starts about 2:30-ish, and then they come back in the evening all hours. I mean, I think our latest was, we have some pretty long routes, just because of the size of our district. So they come back in 5:36 sometimes at the latest. Again, just to emphasize that we really have worked with TxDOT to look at the traffic flow to really try to increase safety and security for all of our buses. We have options. We will have 3 options for turnarounds. Thought this visual would help you understand what we're looking at.
Can you talk a little bit about the improvements TxDOT required?
Yes, sir. It's a protected turn lane, meaning that if you were to go to the west or in that top lane over there, you would only be able to turn into our facility or turn around and go the other direction. And similarly, the other, so there would basically be a curve in between there. So they're requiring us, when she says they encouraged us for safety, they're requiring us to upgrade that so that it's a protected turn lane. So the original intent was to exit our facility. We designed it specifically to go across that and then take a left, but they have said that that is a safety issue in their minds, so they required us to make an improved turn.
Are they planning on extending TxDOT, the entrances to those turnarounds at all? Because they can't hold it like maybe 2 buses.
So right now, I think we've got 3 to 4 buses is what we've calculated. He said, I think that's the lane. They've said that they are gonna do some improvements down. Originally, they were gonna have us do an improvement to the back area and then the next turnaround we would. So we kind of had to go through a process with them to do this one improvement.
Yeah.
But their long-term plans are to go ahead and make those longer runways, if you will, to the
We can back this is off topic a little bit, but who approved and put in those speed bumps? I mean, the hurdles. Mountains.
Didn't drop the
We can look into it, but I
We've all been surprised.
Yes.
I mean, it works. It's good. Slow this one down, but yeah.
All right, thank you all so much. Next item on the agenda is 7.4, Victory and Valor School Boundary Lines.
Yeah, trustees, in your packet, you have a few documents, a little larger than the others. If you kind of follow along with me, wanted to bring you the finalized boundaries, which were obviously informed by enrollment patterns, residential development and enrollment projections in collaboration with our demographers over the course of the last 4 or 5 months, and in working with our transportation team to cover with routing and all of those things. Our goal here ultimately was to create boundaries that created enrollment in each of the impacted schools that was going to be considerate of future enrollment increases, so that this boundary adjustment would stand some time and we wouldn't be coming back a year or 2 from now having to make boundary changes again, number one. Number 2, that it was representative of a really nice distribution of demographics so that there was comparability across all of the schools. And so looking at the first large document, at the top left, it says current elementary school attendance zones. It's on the screen as well. And what you'll see on the left is the boundaries that exist for our current existing elementary schools. On the right, because this is the result of opening Victory, it only affects Oak Crest, Harmony, and then we create the Victory boundary zone. So we're only now on the right looking at the schools south of Highway 87, specifically the boundaries of Harmony and Oak Crest. So if you imagine on the right that is really the boundaries of Oak Crest and Harmony, and then you add in the red shaded area, which is Victory. And so you can see that Victory essentially is providing the majority of its relief to Harmony's enrollment, which we know is added and exceeded its capacity and growing the fastest. And so the lion's share of Victory's boundaries basically consume a large part of what is currently Harmony's boundaries. And then to the east of Oak Crest boundaries up to Highway 87, you see a slice of the Oak Crest boundaries being consumed by Victory. So when you go to the third page, it's got a couple of charts. This is what it results in. So the top left, it says pre-K 4, repeating pre-K plus growth. Hard to read on the screen. A little bit smaller on the document to fit it all on there, but follow me please. You see a column that says Harmony, 810, Oak Crest, 788, and Victory. So what's in parentheses is the current enrollment. Harmony currently has 810 students and enrolling every day. Oak Crest has 788. If you take Harmony and you go down that column, when we apply these boundaries and we roll the students who are in that school, who will be in that school next year, so the fifth graders move to middle school, so we roll the pre-K students through 4 up, there's 415 students next year that are currently in the school now. However, we know that there are pre-K students, 53 of them currently. We're assuming they'll be replaced with 53 more. Add 53 to 415 takes us to 468, and then we know the demographer is projecting 16% enrollment increase, which is an additional 65 students. So what that table is showing you is we're projecting Harmony's enrollment next year to be 543 students, down from 810. Tracking? So now if we look at Oak Crest, you can see that our projection for their enrollment next year is 707. They currently have 788. Not as much relief because our enrollment projections don't show the rate of growth that we're going to be seeing in Harmony and subsequently Victory. Okay, so this is baking in the future projections to make sure that we can account for that long enough for the relief of 10 and 11 to be felt. So when you look at Victory, we're going to open Victory with 469 students. So at a glance, you might say, well, Harmony's going to have 543, Oak Crest 707, and Victory 469. Why wouldn't we balance them out? Well, we don't want to balance them out because if we did, we'd have to come back next year and change boundaries again. So this is considerate of the growth that's coming. Does that make sense?
And it's under capacity is.
Correct. So Oak Crest is going to have about room for about 100 more students. And then Harmony is going to have room to get back over 800, which they will, just in time for the next elementary to be opened up on Rand Road. Same thing for Victory. They'll have room to get up to 950, and Ms. Kopek can tell you while it doesn't feel good, we can get over 1,000 even. And they'll be close to that before the next elementary is open. All right. Any questions about elementary and Victory's boundaries? Okay. I'll talk about the communication plan at the end. The next set of maps is regarding our middle school boundaries. Similarly, the boundaries on the left represent Legacy and Heritage currently. Obviously, we know the Legacy boundary zone is more densely populated than Heritage. However, the most rapid development is in the north, central, and southern region of our district, primarily in the Heritage zone. So that's what Valor is intended to relieve. So when you look at the map on the right, you're basically seeing Heritage's boundaries, south and north of 87, but split by Highway 87 now is the new Heritage to the south of 87 and Valor to the north. If you go back to that last spreadsheet, top right, you'll see Heritage currently has 1,251 students, Legacy 1,163, Valor with a self-selected cohort of 6th grade students at 85. When we go through that entire exercise that I walked through a minute ago with Harmony, you'll see that Heritage is going to open with 678 next year, down from 1251. Legacy is going to open at 1256. They're going to see a little growth. And then Valor is going to open with 760 students. So again, you might look at it and go 678, 1256, and 760. Why aren't we balancing enrollment? Because the trend for enrollment increase is that Legacy is not going to grow much at all, where Heritage and Valor are going to grow exponentially. And then in a couple of short years, within the next 3 to 4, all 3 of those junior highs are going to exceed their capacity, which is about 1,250. But we've had as many as 1,400 students in Heritage at one time. So again, we don't want to come back in a year or 2 and have to change boundaries again. So that's why this was designed in the way that it was. be happy to answer any questions before I talk about the communication plan for our community.
That's the demographic direction.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the fortunate thing about our particular school district is even though we're 200 square miles, very similar demographic distribution, north, central, and south. So it's pretty easy to ensure that comparability when we redistrict after each decade of the census. Their standard is you can't have any variance of more than 10% for any demographic, or we'll be well within that. The census is not the standard, but generally we like to have that comparability of demographic distribution across our schools, and it's pretty easy to do in East Central ISD, and these boundaries will help us remain consistent to that. So we should not see this side of the track versus that side of the track kind of distribution, right? It's going to be very comparable across all of our elementary and secondary campuses with these boundary adjustments.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir?
Heritage is gonna go down from 1251 to 678. What does that do to the teacher who goes over there?
Yeah, her class sizes are going to be reduced to about 6 kids. No, it's not, Mr. So what we're currently going through is an exercise where we're using data to begin to reassign staff. And it's a pretty involved process. We start with data because we want to make sure we don't rob Peter to pay Paul. So we want to make sure that all campuses at the end of this are set up for success. But then we've got to think about the individual employee and their individual context. So for example, we want to be mindful of a teacher who might be moving from Harmony to Victory, who happens to live in Sherman. So we'll just have to have a lot of discourse. It's going to take several months to make those decisions, but ultimately the number one priority is to set every campus up for success from a student outcome data impact perspective, and then consider the context at each school, the personalities, the ability to ensure that there's mentorship and leadership at the teacher level in both campuses, and be considerate of the life and personal context of each employee. So it's very difficult to make it perfect, but we will land on perfectly imperfect decisions that are the best of all the options for our kids, for each school community, and for each individual employee. We've gone through this exercise before. We've got pretty good at the process, and we've got people who know that we're all here to represent the entire school system, not each individual school. And so all ships will rise is the goal by the end of this exercise. And so we're in the emerging stages of this work, and we're confident that we'll get it done well.
Gotcha.
Sir? So communication. At the bottom of that sheet, you see the entire map for communication. However, I want to point to a few things. What's already happened is all the principals in the room for the campuses that we've been discussing that are impacted by the Open and Valerie and Victory already have a list of the students that will be impacted. They know who the kids are, that their boundaries have changed for next year. Next week, we're going to update our website with all of this information. Then also next week, we're going to place letters in elementary students' backpacks, as well as hand letters to go home to the middle school kids. We know that all of these efforts aren't going to answer all the questions and make it to every family, so you're going to see a lot of redundancy and an escalated amount of direct contact with individual families. The end of the month, we'll have street directory information to impacted campuses, so we'll, down to the individual street and addresses, know exactly. So if you've got someone who's enrolling, we'll know next year, hey, your street and your address is zoned for Valley, or zoned for Harmon, or zoned for Victor. Like, we'll have that by the end of this month mapped out, and principals, campuses will have that information. The first week of February, we'll have large posters of this information educating families who come in and out of all of these schools, so there's visibility. And then at the end, the third week of next month, we're going to mail postcards home to all families directly whose children are impacted. And then most importantly, by the end of next month, we're going to communicate to those same families and open up a window for intra-district transfers. So one thing that we've always done when we change boundaries is offer the option for consideration to not move. There are limitations, like our transportation system is unlikely to be able to provide door-to-door transportation if you are zoned for Valor and we shift all of our bus routes to that zone and you want to stay at Heritage. So one requirement might be, if approved, that you can provide your own transportation to and from school. So we look at every situation case by case. We look for reasons why we can approve. Looking at the room that's going to be available for the campuses that are getting relief initially, there's space. But what we find is that initially upon receiving this correspondence, there's a percentage of families that really want to consider being able to stay. Because they've got friends, they're on the same teams, you know, they're comfortable, they know the teachers. And what we see happen is we get closer to the end of the spring, they start hearing that most of their friends and neighbors are actually excited to go to the new school. They've had a chance to see the new school, to meet the new principal, to meet the staff, and that percentage of students who are interested in maybe staying begins to decline. At the end of the day, everybody will be given the option who is interested. We'll go through a process of considering case by case. And at the end of the day, the transition will be thoughtful, accommodated, and fair. And again, the messaging will be saturated and redundant. All the way to your household will receive a postcard with very specific information. You'll also see later in the document, if you were to study it, that well before school starts, parents will be able to go to our website. Here comes the bus, put their address in, and they'll know well before school starts. Here's the bus your child now rides. This is where it picks up and drops off, and these are the times. So again, escalating more precise information, starting this week already, all the way up into June and before the school year starts in August. So be happy to answer any questions, and very thankful for Stevie's leadership, the Demographers Partnership, our transportation team, and of course all of our principals for working through this. And once we execute over the next several months, making sure that every family has a smooth transition and a good experience through this process.
One question, I appreciate all the hard work that has gone into that, I can just imagine the lift. But I can hear it already, day one, school starts, nobody told me. What do we have in place for that? I know you guys, I'm telling you, it's coming, right?
Yeah.
And we typically will hear, well, nobody told me, it's like, you had to have your head buried in the sand.
Yes, sir.
What type of plan do we have set up for that? Are we gonna have like a person designated for those, for that?
Yeah, it's the redundancy, the multiple efforts, and again, the principals in the room who have families that are affected have a list of all of those students. And so we will check, double check, triple check, make sure that there are controls to ensure that there are multiple points at which every one of these families have received communication, to include personal communication. And so we're going to do everything we can to not wait for them to consume information, to not hopefully hope that they come across the information, but also reach out and connect them with the information and be prepared when they show up that first day, or they're go to get on the bus and it's not the same bus and it's not at the same place, that we're able to respond, accommodate, help folks understand, and work through it. You're right, Mr. Crosco, there's a very small percentage, despite our efforts, that will be surprised, but we'll anticipate that and make sure that we make the best of a bad situation. But we're confident the majority of folks will figure it out, if nothing else, by June, when we've gotten word out. Yeah.
We're sending this information to the new subdivisions so they know what their boundaries are and the HOA and
Yes, sir.
stuff.
Yes, sir. All of the above.
Mr. Sean, I've got one question. With regard to the percentages that were, I'm assuming, baked into growth for the elementaries and middle schools, is that year over year? Is that over, what span is that over? Every 2 years, every 3 years? You know, those numbers that are put in there.
So the reason we opened those schools, for example, Harmony at 543, Victory at 469, and Oak Crest at 707, is because when elementary 10 and 11 are finally open, it's considering where these campuses will be enrolled at, based on the projections, when that relief comes. And our goal is to not need portables, and to not extremely exceed capacity before the relief is provided. So we did the best that we could to make sure that it accounts for that, and we feel pretty confident based on the reliability of the projections, and based on the adjustments we've made in the boundaries here that, you know, Harmony will once again fill 800 plus students, which they've experienced before, but they can see that that school's about to open, as will all the families. So it'll come right up against that very uncomfortable enrollment, but the relief is coming. Is that all consistent?
Yeah.
Anything to add?
The only thing I would add is the percentages that we use for growth, Mr. Santos, the 16% versus 2% versus
Yes, ma'am.
9%. That is in collaboration, not only with the information we get from CASA, but our personnel office, through Ms. Sanders, has looked at it for the past couple of years, past years, to see, to make sure we're on track for growth, you know, that we're not, that it's equivalent to what we're seeing by the number of kids that have shown up.
Right.
So it's the math of looking at the future with projections, with
Right.
CASA, what they're anticipating, but it's also looking at real numbers and what's happened over the trend for the last couple
Sure.
of years
So
at each campus.
year over year, and then anticipation of opening. And I get it, 'cause those, they look a little conservative. I'm like, well, that's not over 3 years, or I didn't know what the time is, but in conjunction with opening new schools. So, okay, all right.
So I know you've shared this before. What is the, like the ultimate goal of capacity in each school? Right? What is, in the perfect world, what would be 80% capacity, 70%? What is, I know that.
So that's a great question. From a perspective of needing additional space, we've used 120% as the standard, right? Meaning that we've hit that 100% capacity, but if we're really thoughtful about the square footage in the building, we could actually grow to 120% enrollment. But we've got kids and teachers in less than optimal circumstances, in the library, in the cafeterias, etc., in classrooms when the teacher has a conference period. So 100% in our system is about 950 for our elementary schools, particularly our newly constructed middle schools. It's about 1,400 at our junior highs to include our new junior high. Our current high school was not designed to have over 4,000 students, but it will by the end of next year. And our new high school is intended to have 2,200 in the first phase, and 3,200 by the time the second phase is built. And that would represent capacity.
Right, I guess, I understand the max, but what is the best case scenario? What would we be like? It would be amazing if we could get at.
So if you ask the people out there in the space, there's an answer that says that
6 students per class.
that we have every classroom assigned to a teacher, and that every classroom has, you know, in the elementary school, you know, 22 or less students, and at the secondary, depending on the subject, you know, 26 to 8 or less students, then that would be acceptable. If we go beyond that and we have to float teachers, or we have to extend class size in the elementary, which we do every year with many of our classes to apply for a waiver, and go above 22. In kinder or pre-kinder and kinder, that we go above 20. Because we don't have any other space, so we consolidate kids in a larger class size. The practitioners will say, we're not able to do our best one. So these capacities are based on every classroom, one teacher, and every class at the appropriate 22-1, or at the secondary 27 or 8-1, depending on the subject. It's not a lab class or CTE shop per se, but just as an average, that would be acceptable. Optimal would be a little less than that, depending on the dynamic, the context of the makeup of the student body. But that's a general statement, you know, the high-performing teachers and principals and folks we have in this system, we could probably still do great work in less than ideal circumstances, which is happening right now in some of our schools like Harmony, just as a for example.
Well, thank you for the clarification. That's what I wanted to know, these numbers, right? Obviously, we're starting off lower, but eventually they're going to start maxing out. And I know the trigger is 100%, 120%. Where do we want to be? Where would be great?
Well, we don't want to go too long in a school like Victory with, 469 students, and it's because we're operating a building that can house 950.
Correct.
So we're still running the lights and the utilities and so it doesn't, we don't, just because we only have 469 students in there, doesn't mean that our operations costs, our soft costs, fixed costs are not the same. So it's inefficient if you do that for too long. So we're talking a couple of years of Victories. Cool.
Yeah, because then you have the opposite effect, right? If you overcrowded or too low, then you're,
Yes, sir.
There's some districts that are facing that. They're closing down. I got you. Thank you.
Empty buildings, no teachers.
Any additional
That's what I was
questions?
asking.
Anybody else have anything? All
So
right.
we'll continue with the communication plan as designed. Okay, go.
Sounds good. Item 7.5, upcoming events.
In your calendar for February and January, wanted to point out a couple of things. Student staff holiday on Monday, Martin Luther King Day. We go to February, several things. On the 5th is our next Q3 SGS Pathways training. That'll be here in the boardroom from 5 to 9 on the 5th. On the 9th is a student holiday. On the 10th is a board agenda workshop here in the boardroom in preparation for subsequent regular meeting on the 19th. There is also President's Day holiday on the 16th. It's a student holiday, but a staff development day. And then on the 26th is a special board meeting at 5 o'clock. That's the superintendent mid-year review. So we do have 4 meetings this month. We do as a team. But the 26th is the mid-year review where we will be anchoring to the superintendent's scorecard, which you guys have been working on this year, to ensure that we can look at the current progress of the student outcome goals and the board's goals for the district and the superintendent to be held accountable to. So I'll provide an update regarding each of the items in that scorecard, most of which will be very familiar because that's the goals that we report on every month, to include a few others that are board communication, community engagement and communication, etc. You're aware of all those things, but I just wanted to call your attention that day. We'll spend some time together looking at the state of the district, so to speak. We have to answer questions. Very active calendars for student and school activities otherwise.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, moving on to section 8, action agenda. Item 8.1, 2024-2025 school district audit. Mr. Toscano?
Yeah, trustees, in your electronic packet, you have the 109-page audit report in totality. And in your miscellaneous packet, you have a document there that has a few items pulled from the comprehensive report that are one of the CPAs who is with us here tonight, Dusty Ralph. Ruth, thank you, sir, is here to provide the board with a report summary. And again, you could follow along as he'll be pointing to the documents in that short version. So you don't have to flip through the electronic document. Sir, Dustin.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dustin Ruth, I'm from the Home Water Company, and we audited the school district's financial statements for the year ending August 31st, 2025. Throughout the presentation, obviously, we went with the opinions and funds balances, a few other things, the budget. If you have any questions, let me know, we can go over it. First, what the page 3 is first, I think.
Yes, sir.
That's just the board kind of certified products, which we'll just need that signed and by the board president and secretary. So we can make the page 4, this is our opinion on the financial statements. And once again, it's an unmodified opinion, which is the cleanest opinion we can give a set of financial statements. We didn't have any findings, anything like that, no findings, no issues. And we're always excited to work with Judy and her staff and the financial statements. I think the next page was the 90 or 92.
It is 21.
So page 21, 22, this is your statement of revenues, expenditures, and change in fund balance. The first column there is the general fund. Your total revenues of $115,719,945 for the year. Your total expenses about 3/4 way down is $122,198,875. So you had a decrease of $6.4 million. And then transferred out some $1 million up in funds. You had some insurance proceeds of $725. So that change in fund balance in the year was a decrease of $6,734,996, leaving a general fund ending fund balance of $20,777,582. Your debt service had revenues of $21 million, expenditures of $21.9 million. All refunded some bonds, $12 million, paid some bonds off. And that was a decrease of $1 million in the debt service fund. Between that, the debt service income balance of $11.3 million. Your capital projects and revenues a little over $5.5 million. Your expenditures over $100 million for the year for all the new schools. Y'all issued $136 million in bonds. So that had a net increase for the year of $46,071,635. Leaving that with an income balance of $157,982,131, which is designated for all your capital projects. On page 22, all the other funds had a increase of $621,136. And those with income balance of $3.1 million. All the other funds include like your food service fund, your campus activity fund, your student activity funds, all your other funds. So the ending fund balance for all your funds at the end of the year was $193,254,397. Any questions on fund balance? Next is your budget for your general fund, page 62. First column there is your original budget, the next column is your final budget, the third column is your actual result, fourth is the variance. The originally you budgeted $123 million in revenues, your final budget was $116 million in revenues, your actual amount was $115 million in revenues, so that was just a little less than expected by $775,000. Your expenditures, your original budget was $126 million in expenditures, your final was $127 million. Their actual amount was $122,198,875, which is $4.9 million below what he budgeted. And he did have one budget over expenditure in the facilities acquisition function, $150,000 there, at negative, you see the last column. And the last two was our other opinions on the audit on page 90 and 92. So if you receive federal funds, you have to look at your internal controls and monitor your accomplishments. And also if you receive over $750,000, we have to look at this on a single audit, so we got to focus more on the individual federal funds. And both of those came back where you have unmodified opinions, that you can get certified.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
Just one. You had mentioned no deficiencies were found. Anything that we're getting close to or approach that might raise a red flag at some point?
Not that we know.
You're hearing that about Judy and the team.
Yeah, Judy?
No, it's my team.
On page 45, it's not up in here. Actually read the whole thing.
We know.
It doesn't have to do with the budget, but it shows that about the warehouse lease terminating. Said it for 2 years, is that gonna give us enough time to be into the new location or we have to do it again?
We anticipate that we'll be able to move into the new, which is the existing transportation facility. So, give the option to expand, we think that will give us
If not, I have a big storage unit right next door.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
The next item on the agenda is 8.2, 2026-2027 district calendar. Oh, I'm sorry. 8 point, yes, can you make a recommendation? Sorry.
Madam President, I recommend that the 2024-2025 audit of the district's fiscal accounts be approved by the board as prepared, presented by Coleman Horton and Company LLP.
We have a recommendation by the superintendent. All those in favor, show by hand raised. I'm sorry.
We've been at it a while.
I have a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation. I have a motion by Ms. Friesenhuhn, and a second by Mr. Crosco. All those in favor, show by hand. Motion carries. Now, on to 8.2, 2026-2027 district calendar.
Trustees, we are bringing back our calendar recommendation as promised. We have polled the staff and parents of the community, and with more than 2/3 of the vote by both staff and parents, we're bringing back which was option 2. And I want to review the high points of option 2 for the board and answer any questions before you guys take final action to adopt. So if you recall, the 2 options were very similar to this year's calendar and very similar to one another. The primary difference was one was going to start us in the middle of a week. The one that the community preferred starts us on Monday, the 10th. So that's the first thing you'll see in this calendar. The second bit of feedback that we got was that neither calendar had an option for a staff development day after the winter break, which we have not had the last 2 years. The consensus was we realized that we currently have a staff development the Monday after Thanksgiving break, but if we could only have one, we prefer that that be moved to the Monday after winter or Christmas break. And so this calendar moves that November 30th staff development day after Thanksgiving. So it's a day that we all return with students now. And the Monday after the Christmas break is a staff development day. So staff will return, students will not on that Monday. The other thing you'll see on this calendar is that it is 175 days, as both options were, up from 171. 4 additional days with students for instruction, but it's not 4 additional work days for employees, because what we basically did, if you look to the bottom left of the calendar, is in the student holiday staff development, we for several years have baked in strategic dates where we had staff but not students, so staff could disaggregate data and do quarterly instructional planning. We looked strategically at the calendar, worked with our principals and instructional leaders and curriculum team, and determined that there were 4 of those days that we could combine that work and still get it done. So we removed what was previously in October, a December, a January, and one of the February staff development days. Those are now school days in this calendar. So again, staff were already working, so we're not adding days, but we are adding instructional days with kids, which does give us more at-bats with students to do their learning. As far as staff and student holidays, you see all the exact holidays that we've had the last 2 years. Nothing's changed there. And then lastly, in May, June, and July, you see the blocked out gray area. That is our summer programs window. And by adopting this 175-day calendar, we will receive additional funding that we believe will help fund the lion's share, if not all, of our summer programs, which we are currently funding through local and other sources. So that will be able to bring those funds back to those local and other sources for utilization in other areas, and have the state support us for extending the school year with that funding stream. Be happy to answer any questions before the board considers the recommendation.
Silly, but I know that attendance is always been a problem the day after Super Bowl. Is that the 15th? Do you know what Super Bowl is?
I am
So
not.
we had back-to-back Mondays in February,
Yeah.
one meeting for that.
I am not sure if this calendar addresses the Monday after Super Bowl. It is typically not a good attendance day. And most of what is baked in this calendar is responding to that in the best ways we could.
Because if we're doing the 15th, if we're doing a Monday for that in February, it would be great to get it back.
Yeah, I don't know the Super Bowl days next year.
So yes, it is, we have a staff development day on the 15th, the Super Bowl that year.
We were so insightful. Rather be looking it's a win-win all the way around. You asked, you received.
I mean, it's a thing, right?
It's a thing. It is a thing, yes, ma'am.
Mr. Spino, conversation I had with you with that, school board, may consider that state funding that we receive is correct?
In for ADSY funding, yes, sir.
Okay.
Now, what we also have been discussing is this is the calendar for all schools, should you adopt it, to include Legacy Middle School. However, next month, we will be bringing an addendum to this calendar that includes some additional days with students for Legacy. And Mr. Hyen and his team are currently, they've got a proposal, but they're putting it out to staff and community to get feedback. We'll come with that recommendation next month, considering him and his team's recommendation and request, but also adapted if necessary, given the feedback that he receives from the Legacy community. So what we'll bring next month is an addendum to this that is specific to Legacy. We'll explain the details and how it is different and why we believe it's a huge benefit for Legacy in that area of the community and students. So more to come on that one, but this is the calendar that we will consider adopting for all schools next year. Any questions?
Just can you reiterate that you said it was 2/3 on the decision on this?
On this calendar, we had about 68% of staff voting for this one,
Okay.
and about the same parents, and I believe we had about 1,000 votes from parents. So it was a good representation. The sample size was that.
Any questions? Okay.
All right, trustees, I recommend board approval of the 2026-2027 district calendar as presented.
We have a recommendation by the superintendent. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Santos. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gerhart. All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Next item is 8.3, December 2025 SB 13 procurement list for library materials.
Madam President, I know we've already gone over it, so I'll just jump into what we agreed in the packet. For approval, there was only 4 this time, but I just need a Madam President, on behalf of the Library Board Review Committee, I move that the board approve the committee's recommendations as presented.
I have a motion from Ms. Friedenhahn to accept as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Crosco. All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, items 8.4, and I guess I can talk about 8.5 also. Ms. Rokas has been working on furniture, RFPs for furniture for Victory Elementary, Bond Furniture, and Valor school lawn furniture, and she's been working tirelessly. We heard a little bit about what she was up to at our workshop, but after speaking with Mr. Toscano and Ms. Rokas, she would like to have some more time to be able to dig into this a little bit deeper and peel back the onion and make sure that we're getting the best bang for our buck. So we're going to go ahead and table this, and they'll bring it back to us next month. Consent agenda. Is there anyone that would like to pull anything from the consent agenda? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented? I have a motion from Mr. Crosco. Do I have a second? Second from Ms. Friesenhahn. All those in favor? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Crosco, second by Mr. Santos.